has set his sights on someone new after the Diddy Netflix documentary.
Because here's a guy who starts beef and pretends that he is the bully.
Speaking of any particular Netflix docuseries that you've been working on, Did He Do It?
Right.
You've been saying for years that you feel you knew Diddy's character.
Looks like 50 Cent just put out what he'd probably call a friendly reminder, even though there's nothing friendly about it at all. And this time, it feels like Jay-Z might be the one quietly looking for the nearest exit. So if anyone thought hip-hop beefs were dead and buried, 50's latest move just proved that theory wrong real fast. Right now, it's looking like 50 Cent may have locked onto a new target, especially after the massive reaction to that Netflix documentary centered around Diddy. If you somehow miss it, 50's project on Netflix, Sean Combs' The Reckoning, didn't just perform well, it absolutely exploded. The documentary shot straight to the #1 spot on the entire platform, even pushing heavy hitters like Stranger Things out of the top position. That kind of dominance doesn't happen by accident, and it definitely got the industry talking. Diddy responded by flat-out denying all the accusations and even tried to pressure Netflix with a cease and desist to get it pulled. But clearly, that plan went nowhere. Netflix didn't blink, and the documentary stayed right where it was.
Feel uncomfortable with the way you represent the idea of going to these projects.
To come party with me.
Yeah. And then that swayed me away from it. Just that alone.
Gaining even more attention. Now that the Diddy situation has completely taken over the internet, the conversation has shifted to one unavoidable question. If this is the first domino, then who's next? And oddly enough, the name that keeps popping up in these discussions is Jay-Z. The biggest reason behind this growing speculation is the extremely close relationship Jay-Z shared with Diddy over the years, a connection that's suddenly being looked at in a very different light. Diddy has openly called Jay-Z his brother more times than people can count, even saying Jay was one of the very few people, outside of his own mother, who could call him by his real name, Sean. That alone always made their relationship seem rock solid. From the legendary annual parties to those exclusive Rock Nation brunches, Diddy was almost always right there by Jay's side. And because that bond looked so unbreakable.
So you didn't realize
as much stuff was coming. Like when I seen today, it was allegations of 3 men that said he drugged them. And it's a long time, to be honest with you. Like when people don't remember being violated for 20 years.
Some people in the public are now asking uncomfortable questions. If Diddy was allegedly involved in all these things behind the scenes, how much did Jay-Z actually know? And once you open that door, the questions don't stop there. Some are even pushing it further, wondering if Jay-Z himself could be hiding something too. To be clear, none of this is backed by hard evidence at this point. But the internet doesn't wait for proof. It loves connecting dots, whether those dots are real, imagined, or completely unrelated. Then there's another layer to this story that keeps resurfacing, and that's Nicki Minaj. Over the years, she's repeatedly criticized Jay-Z and Rock Nation, accusing them of manipulating the industry. She's claimed they steal ideas, control narratives, and quietly influence major decisions behind the scenes. Whether people believe her or not, those statements have absolutely poured gasoline on an already burning fire. And honestly, it's not hard to see why so many think Rock Nation carries serious weight behind the scenes.
The statement is something from, you can tell it's written by a lawyer. Because there's a point where it kind of gets aggressive. It says, like, you're going to find out, like how I'll handle this. Like, and that's an attorney want to be combative with another attorney. That's not publicist.
Just look back at that Grammys moment when Jay-Z stood on stage and pointed out that Beyoncé had never won Album of the Year. Then, almost like clockwork, the very next year Beyoncé wins Album of the Year. That timing alone had people doing a double take. Folks were online like, wait, is it really that simple? Say something publicly, apply a little pressure, and suddenly the issue disappears. To a lot of viewers, it felt like a clear display of raw industry power. Whether it was intentional or not, Jay-Z has always seemed to receive a certain VIP level of treatment from the media. I still remember when Hot 97 interviewed him and literally rolled out an actual red carpet just for Jay. That wasn't normal, and no other artist ever got that kind of reception. So the idea that Jay-Z received special treatment doesn't really sound far-fetched at all. But now the conversation is shifting into more uncomfortable territory.
This is on your,
Put that out.
this is
that
on,
50?
yeah, it says, I don't know what's going on, but are we still going to have the Super Bowl? I'm just asking for a friend.
Yeah, I'm asking for Kendrick. You know, I'm just trying to figure out if we're still doing everything the way. Because look, they will fall back. Like the NFL, they won't necessarily be associated.
Right.
People are starting to wonder if that influence stretches beyond awards and media respect into something much darker. And once again, there's no confirmed evidence backing any of this up. Still, the speculation online is heavy, loud, and growing by the day, especially with everything else unfolding right now. Now this is where 50 Cent officially steps into the middle of the conversation. Online, people have been non-stop asking him to do a Jay-Z documentary next. And honestly, it looks like he might be entertaining the idea, because he posted a cartoon-style drawing of Jay-Z on Instagram, clearly meant as a joke, with a caption saying, "Please stop sending me things like this. I'm not posting it." Of course, he posted it anyway. But the real moment wasn't even the post itself. The part that made people pause was buried in the comments. Someone replied under the post saying, "My only question is next, right?" And that's where things got interesting. Because 50 Cent actually liked the comment. When I first saw the screenshot floating around on X, I didn't buy it right away. People fake screenshots all the time just to spark drama, especially when big names are involved. So I wanted to be sure before taking it seriously. I ended up reaching out directly to the guy who wrote the comment and asked him if the like was real. He confirmed it himself and said he was just as shocked as everyone else. And that detail matters, because 50 didn't have to like that comment at all. He could have ignored it, scrolled past it, or unliked it quietly, but he didn't. And sometimes what someone chooses to acknowledge says more than anything they post out loud. Another detail that completely flew over most people's heads is the timing. The Diddy documentary dropped on December 2nd. Jay-Z's birthday is December 4th. Releasing it just 2 days before Jay's birthday felt a little too calculated for some people, almost like a quiet message being sent. Like 50 was subtly saying, "See you soon." Maybe it's a coincidence, but the internet definitely didn't miss that timing. There's also the possibility that Nicki Minaj could get pulled into this if 50 actually goes there. She's been very vocal about her issues with Jay-Z and Roc Nation for years now, even though the full story has never been laid out completely in public. And when it comes to 50 and Jay-Z, their relationship has always been complicated. Cool at certain points, enemies at others. The same exact pattern 50 has had with Diddy too. If you go all the way back, the issues date to 50's How to Rob, where he took shots at Jay-Z J5 back with that famous line, "I'm about $1. What the F asterisk 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 is 50 Cent?" Then 50 replied with, "Be a gentleman," and Jay never responded after that. Later on, they ended up doing business together with the Reebok sneaker deals, the G-Unit shoes, and the S-Carters. Things cooled down for a while, but the tension never fully disappeared. Eventually, it always resurfaced. The most recent major issue people point to is the Super Bowl halftime show situation. During Dr. Dre's performance, Eminem reportedly insisted that 50 Cent be included. Jay-Z, who had a role in organizing the event, allegedly didn't want 50 on that stage. According to NOIE from Drink Champs, Eminem basically refused to participate unless 50 was part of it. Jay supposedly agreed because Eminem demanded it, but that whole situation clearly caused friction. After the Diddy documentary dropped, a lot of people started asking the same question all over again. If someone else deserves to get exposed next, who would it be? And Jay-Z is the name a lot of people keep pointing toward. More recently, 50 has been trolling Jay harder than usual. He even joked that Jay-Z thanked him for not being included in the Diddy documentary, which is classic 50 behavior, but it also shows where his head is at right now. The real question, though, is whether 50 actually has enough material to build a Jay-Z documentary. Because unlike Diddy, Jay-Z doesn't have multiple lawsuits or public accusations stacking up around him. Most of what's circulating right now is online speculation, conspiracy theories, and commentary, with Nicki Minaj being one of the few industry insiders who openly speaks against him. That's a big difference. A major reason Jay-Z is catching this type of backlash is because of how close he was to Diddy. At one point, Diddy was calling him his brother and saying Jay was the only person besides his mother who could call him by his real name, Sean. If actual lawsuits or serious claims were to surface, that would completely change the situation. But 50 isn't known for building documentaries out of thin air. He waits until the momentum, exposure, and public interest are already there. And right now, about 90% of the Jay-Z conversation is social media chatter, not concrete evidence. I'm not saying he's guilty of anything. I'm just repeating what people are openly circulating online. You also have the Megan Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez situation, which sparked countless theories that Roc Nation influenced the legal outcome. Again, none of that has been proven, but it's heavily discussed. People genuinely believe Roc Nation has this massive, covert control over the music industry, that if Jay-Z pushes a narrative, the media follows. Whether that's true or not, the perception exists. Recently, when Jay-Z's legacy started getting debated on X, with people calling his career overrated, it suddenly turned into a trending topic. And almost immediately, major outlets began dropping articles praising his career and highlighting his impact. That timing alone just added more fuel to an already heated conversation, and calling him one of the greatest to ever do it. To a lot of people, that timing felt suspicious, almost like a switch got flipped behind the scenes. It added to the idea that something happens quietly when narratives start slipping out of control. And like I mentioned earlier, the Grammys moment was really what made people stop and question things. Beyoncé and Jay-Z already have more awards than most artists in history combined. So when Jay went on stage and complained about Album of the Year, then Beyoncé won it the very next year, people couldn't help but side-eye the situation. It felt a little too convenient. That moment alone made many wonder how much influence Roc Nation really has when doors are closed and cameras are off. It'll be interesting to see if anything actually comes to light down the road. Because let's be real, 50 has always been in competition with Diddy and Jay-Z over who really runs New York hip-hop. Who's the king? Who controls the culture? And in a lot of people's eyes, 50 has already taken Diddy off the board. That naturally shifts attention to who's left standing at the top. But again, some of this could just be coincidence. Some of it could be conspiracy. Some of it might just be speculation built on smoke instead of fire. And then there's always a chance that a small part of it holds real truth. The problem is, you need solid evidence to confirm anything. And right now, nobody has brought forward something verifiable. A lot of media pages don't really care about that part, though. Rumors bring clicks, and clicks bring money. As for 50 Cent, he's never been impulsive. He plays a long game. He dismantled J.A. Rule's career over time. He waited and watched before going at Diddy. And Jay-Z has always existed in that same upper tier of New York power. From 50's perspective, going after Jay-Z will be the final boss battle. He's always followed that 48 laws of power mindset. Destroy your enemy completely. So if 50 ever decide to challenge Jay-Z directly, he's not doing it halfway. He's going all in or not at all. Remember, 50 has been working on the Diddy documentary for nearly 2 years. The footage he gathered was wild. The people he convinced to speak were even crazier. That didn't happen overnight. So the idea that something else could be brewing isn't that far-fetched, especially with how loud the online conversation around Jay-Z has gotten recently. And once the internet starts digging, it usually doesn't stop. That's why some people believe it's only a matter of time before someone comes forward with accusations, whether they are true or not. Nobody knows what the future holds. For now, all we have is speculation. I'm not saying Jay-Z is guilty of anything. I'm not saying he isn't. I'm just repeating what people are already talking about. Netflix also made headlines this week with news about another documentary featuring never-before-seen footage of Sean Diddy Combs. Clips that were reportedly meant to stay private, including a high-stakes phone call with his lawyer just days before major developments. Footage like that doesn't surface by accident. But when it comes to Jay-Z specifically, everything right now is still mostly noise. No verified evidence has surfaced. Most of the conversation is being driven by social media theories and long-standing industry narratives. Whether 50 actually moves forward with a Jay-Z documentary will depend on something concrete emerging, not just internet chatter. And if history tells us anything, journalists rarely reveal their sources. Diddy likely has no idea what footage exists until it actually airs. When it does, that'll be the first time his legal team and everyone else sees it. Until then, all we can do is watch how this unfolds. One thing is certain, though, the conversation around Jay-Z is only getting louder. Time will tell if there's anything real behind it.